everybody can turn their video on and join us by video, that would be great. I just want to start off. Hello, everyone. I know quite a few people couldn't make it tonight, but we will share with them any of our takeaways. So we have, every quarter we bring a new guest in, and I am so honored to share with you whom we have here tonight. I feel like I have known Frank my whole life, probably because we both come from Philadelphia. I haven't been back in a very, very long time, but I hope you all watched the documentary that I shared a little bit with you. Mr. Frank Stallone is a Grammy and Golden Globe nominated artist. He is one of the most versatile actors, singers, and musicians in the business. His explosive voice and his range from comedy to drama and rock to blues big band leaves audiences entertained and captivated. I can go on and on and on and read his bio. He's done about 91 movies. He is an artist inside and out. It is such an honor to have him here with us. I'm going to let him share about his films, being that we're mostly in the acting, but people here are singers and musicians as well. So this is a blessing all the way around for all of us. I'd like to give a big welcome to Mr. Frank Stallone, who I feel like is my brother, and my brother's Frank, and my dad's name is Frank. Hello, Frank. Thank you for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. My pleasure. When you contacted me, I figured Italians must stick together.
I was thinking just to do a quickie, see, because we don't have about 30 people. Sometimes we do. Maybe everyone could just to break the ice a little bit, I could let them introduce themselves and just
Okay.
where
Sure.
you're from.
Sure.
Wherever
Absolutely.
you're from. Yeah. And then, Frank, I have a question. And then what we normally do is they bring questions with them, only
Okay.
about the art, only about the craft, nothing personal.
Okay. Sure.
And then you take it away and run the show.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just call on you where I see you. Greta from the right over.
Yes. Hi, Frank. Thank you so much
Hi,
for being
Greta.
here. It's such an honor to have you come just share your wisdom and everything you have for us. So my name is Greta. I am a singer-songwriter and actress from the Nashville-based area, and I've been studying with Tina now for 3 years.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are your aspirations more in music or theater or film or what?
I'm trying to figure out my pathway in it because I'm also a harpist. So I have
Oh,
many different
wonderful.
facets that I'm trying to figure out how that all incorporates together. I would love to write for screen. I think that would be really neat. But
Well, listen, yeah. I think being a musician in that facet, playing harp, is probably easier than getting acting jobs nowadays.
probably.
But again, I started as a musician. I turned professional at 15 and, played all the clubs from Florida to Philadelphia to New Jersey to New York, open mic nights, just tons of stuff. I was a solo artist, but I also had a band in the early days, and we had up and downs in the career, had a record deal, lost that, then this and this. It was almost like a graph like this, going. And I I mean, basically, that's all I knew what to do was play music, and I was always basically pretty hammy. So, but I wasn't like the guy. My mother wanted to put me in like actors workshop when I was a kid, and that was considered in my era, not too cool. It was cooler to be a musician than an actor. I mean, you have got
Right.
teased horribly, at that time, but we're talking in the '60s. So, but it's all a struggle. I think you have to have a realistic viewpoint. Not everyone's going to get every gig. Not every actor is for every role, and disappointments, and it just goes with the business. So you have to develop a thick skin without kind of getting jaded. I mean,
Yeah.
I go to auditions and I'd see these guys in there, or, really good looking guy. I mean, in Hollywood in those days, these really handsome guys. And basically, they're going for an audition. This is before they would do the video auditions, which I think are dreadful. I hate those. I refuse to do them because I don't think you're going to get any essence, doing an audition into an iPhone, you know. And then if you suck, they're going to say, well, she's terrible. I'm not see her.
Mm.
I mean, I like the, back and forth. And, you'd see guys there hitting on all the good-looking young actresses. I said, well, you're really here for an audition. You should be working on your lines. If you become successful, you can have all the girlfriends you want. And usually their auditions would be probably 30 seconds. It'd be like, well, thank you for coming. Next. Because basically you come in unprepared, you have your script in your back pocket, and when you come in like, I got this. Yeah, I got this. I've been rehearsing all weekend with my friends. I got this. But you don't get it because you don't know what situation you're going to walk into. Sometimes you can walk into a very hostile, especially if you're an attractive girl. Basically, you're going to walk into a hostile situation because, trust me, most of the casting people are not great looking, and they probably don't like pretty women, or the guys don't like handsome guys. So
Oh no.
strike against you right away. And so you can walk into a hostile situation. Sometimes you can walk into a very friendly situation. But I think the most important thing is to be prepared and you have your script in hand. You're doing a cold reading. So I suggest, Tina and I were talking about, there was a great gal out here. I don't know if she's still around, Margie Haber, and she was known,
She's still around.
yeah, cold reading. All the actors, I don't care who they are, people that have been on seasons of series, they go to cold, because cold reading
Mm.
is an art. Like Robert De Niro is probably the worst cold reader in the world, but he's good friends with Martin Scorsese. But there's some people that the idea is to get the job, then you learn the part.
Mhm.
So that's the key. So cold reading is actually a bit of an art. It's something that you have to practice. The whole thing was when I was coming up, people, the worst thing you can do is have your script, you're looking at it, and then you put it in your back pocket, you fold it. And then all of a sudden you come into the situation, which might be, you might be acting with another actor that's not giving you anything,
Mhm.
and you go up on your lines. But if you have your script in front of you, and if you're watching him and you move your thumb down slowly when you're doing script to your line, you know where you're at. But if you start fumbling, oh, excuse me, I got to get my thing out, that audition's over.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Frank, I'm going to let each person introduce and tell you where
Sure.
they're from, and then we'll go on. That's
Sure.
excellent advice.
Thank you so much.
Aw.
My pleasure.
Cassidy.
Who's this?
Hi, my name's Cassidy.
Hi.
I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee. I lived in Los Angeles for a few years and I just moved back here. And
Smart.
yes, I did make the right decision, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm an actress. I've been acting for 3 years and I started out as a dancer and I'm still pursuing that. So
Good.
I kind of go both, kind
Yeah.
of just multi-talented right now, just doing two things.
Well, I think that's really good because, again, I come from an era when actors did everything. They danced, they sang, they could, they act and whatever. I mean, I think it's good to pursue all those avenues because you never know. It could be, you could audition for a movie like Black Swan. Oh, you can dance too? That's great. We really like your reading, but you're also a dancer. That's fantastic. So I think it's always good to pursue all those things. And again, preparedness is the thing. I was watching a thing with Peter O'Toole, to me, one of the great actors of all time. Very prepared.
Oh,
Very prepared. When you come in there, they read the script. They don't. I am guilty of this too. Something when I start out doing the small movies, of course, I'm just going to read my lines. But then I don't know what the movie's about. I just know what my lines are about. So yeah, I think it's a good idea and believe me, some of these scripts were horrible. So I had to kind of torture myself to watch through them. You get what you get when you're starting out. You know what I mean? You're not going to get the A pictures. But I think preparation is one of the most important things you can do.
amen. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Tanya.
Sorry,
Hello.
to unmute. I'm Tanya, so you
Hi,
know me.
Tanya.
I work with Tina. I'm an
Yeah.
actress and a singer as well, a little
Mhm.
bit of a songwriter, and
Mhm.
have been doing that since I was about 3. I just moved to Nashville from the Chicago area last fall,
Mhm.
and yeah, just excited and enjoying the pursuit of this fun career that's
Well,
changing every day.
you're in the right place. I mean, I went to Nashville years ago for a short time, but honest to God, being a singer-songwriter as I started, I wish I would have gone sooner. I really wish I would have gone in like in the 80s, early
Yeah, me
80s, late
too. Or the
70s.
90s.
Well, even the 80s and 70s, I mean, it was really Nashville. It was really songwriting. And,
Yeah.
a lot of these people would get a lot of covers on their songs. And yeah, I mean, I would suggest Nashville is to what Hollywood was as far as acting. If you're a
Mhm.
songwriter and you have aspirations to sing and things, I think Nashville's the place to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you know
It's been
what?
good.
Yeah.
You know, too, Frank, we are getting so much with Atlanta close by, but Nashville market is really beginning to boom too.
Uh-huh.
Uh, for actors, there's a lot going on here now. And
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with, the residuals and the packages and things, and then Atlanta as well.
Well, Atlanta, yeah. I remember when during the 80s, they were doing movies in Wilmington, North Carolina, a lot in Toronto,
Mhm.
because it was just getting too expensive in Los Angeles, especially for young filmmaker coming up that has a small budget. I mean, it was,
Hmm.
the unions, whatever, just
Yeah.
made it just cannibalized itself. So, but basically, when I was here, they were doing like 40 TV series at once. That's like that's why when you watch Kojak, Columbo, The Rockford Files, Heart to Heart, you see all these actors. They just, series were going and they just needed actors. And like I'm addicted to Kojak. I started from season one. I'm on season five now, just blitzing through it. And even my acting teacher was in it, Tony Ponzini, God rest his soul. So you would see a lot of people. Two of my acting teachers had guest stars, Alan Rich and
Hmm.
Tony Ponzini. And you got to work, even though you're an acting coach. They're actors, so they work. Robert Lyons, all these people. So it's kind of fun to see a lot of the old timers.
Yeah, good memories, I'm sure.
See
Um,
Richard here.
yeah,
Richard.
Richard and then Kate. We'll do Richard and then Kate, and then
Okay, Richard.
Uh, Frank, I really truly enjoyed the documentary. I'm
Thank you.
located in South Louisiana,
Oh, wonderful.
and down between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, right on the
Uh-huh.
Mississippi River. And
Oh,
so I'm an actor. Been an actor for about 20 years now,
wonderful.
and
How's the scene down there? A lot of theater, or are they doing movies down there?
uh, in 2004 is when they passed the tax break,
Uh-huh.
and from 2004 until around 2013, New Orleans area was known as Hollywood South. I mean, they
I've
were
heard.
pouring in, and it's cut back now, but it's starting to pick up again.
Good, good, good.
I think they mentioned that Nola Kings is going to start
That's
shooting
right.
here.
That's
So
right. Nola Kings. I remember, I think my brother did a movie there, ICU, or that, or Get Carter. One of those movies I think he did in New Orleans.
he
But
did a few of them.
yeah, he did
Yeah.
a few of them down there, and he liked it. The humidity wasn't much fun for your hair, So, but I mean, but he loved
Oh,
it. I mean, listen, I did a movie in Birmingham, Alabama. They were doing films there too.
oh yeah.
It's. I think it's great. I think it's great that these states are opening up because it brings revenue in. It gives actors an outlet. I'm sure a lot of actors in those towns do theater and repertory
Oh
shows.
yeah.
So that's great.
Definitely.
That's good,
yeah.
Rob. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caitlin.
Hi. Hi, Frank. I'm Kate. I'm an actress in Nashville.
Uh-huh.
I'm also a writer, and I'm originally from Chicago.
Oh,
I've been here about 4 years.
oh, you liking it?
I love it.
Well, the
Yeah.
people are very nice there.
Yeah.
I like Tennessee myself. Yeah, I mean, I think whatever, I mean, there's no reason why people can't be writers, singers, dancers, actors. I mean, it's all show business, and you never know when it can come in handy. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's in my documentary, Russ Regan, who was the president, he was one of the great A&R men, which is artist development and stuff like that. And he said, the problem is, Frank, you can do too many things. He goes, I wish you could only do one thing. So what happened is a singer, I would end up doing an acoustic album, then I do a big band album, then I do this album. So, and I think I was talking with a bunch of guys yesterday, It's just I love music, and I grew up in an era when radio was very diverse. I mean, you'd hear the Rolling Stones, next song would be Frank Sinatra, then you'd hear Dean Martin, then you hear the Beatles. So kind of grew up with a potpourri of music, and kind of attached to it. But no regrets. I had fun doing it. Still do.
Oh, yeah. So gifted, so talented.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very much. Just amazing. I can't wait to hear the questions that are going to come your way. when we
Sure.
talk
Who
about
else
your
we got?
songs. And Ty,
Okay, Ty.
Hi, thank you so much for your
Hi.
time this evening. I'm an actor based here in Nashville and have been studying with Tina over the last couple of months this summer.
Oh, that's fantastic. You having a good time?
Yeah, it's been really great.
I think what is really important too is, yes, you have the acting class, but I think it's good during the week when you have time to peel off with some actors and do scene study. I don't, I did, we used to do it. You don't see it that much anymore. But you have to have the initiative to look, hey, so listen, you want to do some scene study on something we're working on, or blah, blah. And I think it keeps you sharp. I know my brother and I used to do an exercise. It's kind of interesting. We would read like a script out loud,
oh, yes.
because you're not going to be doing a silent movie. Obviously, you're going to be talking. And that's why sometimes you always hear these guys, they talk like this because they think they're dangerous, and or they go over the top. Like, just watch Godfather, watch Al Pacino, how chill and cool he is, but he's deadly. Or if you look Silence of the Lambs, he doesn't yell, but his intention is very dangerous. So I think you learn dynamics when you read aloud, whether it's a script or just a book on plays like Eugene O'Neill, or
We just finished, Frank, we just finished Long Day's Journey into the Night.
great.
Just finished it. Yeah.
You should also look at Desire, Morning Comes Electra, or Desire Under the Elms, Eugene O'Neill. They're great. I mean, they're really,
Yes.
Tennessee Williams, you're talking about the best. These are the
That's what
great.
we're doing. Yeah.
And it's really, Tennessee Williams, it's heady stuff, and it's important. It's good to tackle hard stuff. Then the easy stuff is really easy.
I'm so glad you brought that up. We just
Yeah,
finished that one.
great.
Holy surprise. And so tragic. It's his family. I mean, it really was part like his family.
He was a very, very tragic person. Most writers are. I mean, going from Clifford Odets to Eugene O'Neill to Dashiell Hammett, they're all, it's a very solitary life. A lot of them have a lot of issues, but Edgar Allan Poe, I mean, all these people, but that's what maybe makes them great. That's why Hollywood is that picture right there, comedy and tragedy.
I love that you're bringing this up because I think I mentioned to you, we had Armand Desante on like a few months back.
I love them.
Yeah. And we were talking about, just so many actors even today don't even read full scripts. A lot of them didn't even know these playwrights, and we totally dive into all of that. So I'm so glad that you're bringing that up, because I was one of those starting out in New York really early on. I had never read a full play.
No.
I got embarrassed in class and my teacher called me out. I was
Yeah.
skimming. Yeah.
Weren't you with Stella Adler?
Yeah, this was at Strasbourg, this one though, and it was I went to Stella Afterly, and
She
it
was brutal. When she was
yes.
younger, she was brutal. She used to like to tip the bottle a little bit. And the story on her, she was very beautiful when she was young. Her brother was a huge Broadway actor who actually did Death of a Salesman and some Luther Adler. And she was great looking, but they were theater people. So she never quite translated over to film. So she had a little bit of bitterness there. She didn't like women. If women were in their class and they were pretty, but if a guy was great looking, he could be the worst actor. Where she goes, "Oh, that was wonderful, darling." But I remember there was one girl in a class, and she was like fumbling over lines. She goes, "Listen, darling, just don't stand there and be blonde. Act." So
Yeah, she could get a little
well,
tough.
they can be, but it's a tough business. It's not an easy business.
No.
So what do
Yeah.
you have next?
Audrey.
Audrey. Okay.
Hi, thank you so much for coming tonight. It means a lot, and I'm so happy that I got to be here. I'm Audrey. I've been with Tina since I was 13, I think. Yeah, 13. And I have loved acting for a long time. I dance, I do sing, and I kind of want to be an actor who has all of the wheelhouses to present to someone for a role. So I'm
I
really
think that's
excited to be here.
important because you never know what's gonna, I mean, look at the movie Moulin Rouge. I mean, you never know what's gonna happen. I
Yeah.
mean, look at Barbie. There's dancing all over the place. I mean, so yeah, I think it's good to explore all that stuff. I don't think anyone should be sometimes just a one-tool person. I think it's good to, and if you have a passion for like music and dance and so forth, I think it's
Me
really
too.
good to stick with that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And you're now what, 17? Is that right?
16. I haven't turned 17 yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. She's so mature. I keep forgetting. Just so mature.
Um,
Carter.
okay.
Hi, Frank. My name's Carter. I've been with Tina for a couple of years now. I was actually an engineer. I did software engineering for about a decade before I started acting. I'm originally from Memphis. I came up here to Nashville for school, kind of stuck around, and it had a really good scene for the
Yeah.
software world. And I didn't really realize it was picking up on the acting side of things when I got started, but I was
Really?
fortunate enough to come to Tina pretty early in that journey.
Well, that's something Tina and I talked about. It's very important to, if you're acting, you have to have some kind of a job. If you just rely, like you have like a skill and that's it. But if you just rely on acting, it can be pretty dreary. I mean, most actors have a job and they work whatever job. They might work as a barista, or they might work as a bartender, or something that leaves their days open for acting class, or they work nights that leave their days open, or their nights and or their days they work and have their nights open to do whatever. But I mean, it's very important. I mean, even Dustin Hoffman talks about that when he's the acting teacher in Tootsie. You just it's like I've seen so many people come out. I mean, I've been in Los Angeles like 45 years, and I've seen the most beautiful women come out here. Well, I'm not going to be like everyone else. I'm going to get this. And then you see them working at like, Wiener Schnitzel 40 years later, something like that. It's work. You got to put the work in. It's dedication.
Yes.
It's not all about parties and hanging out. That stuff, comes later, if ever. But I mean, I think the thing is, it's very important to have your head above the ground. Because if you're not working and you're thinking, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my car? And you can't concentrate.
Right.
You can't concentrate on the task at hand. And I think repertory theater I wish I would have done more. I really didn't do it because I kind of transferred after I had my first hit record, that was popular. And they thought, oh, let's put him in this junky movie or something like this. So I kind of just learned on the spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's all
That's
good. Yeah. It's all
That's so good. Oh, that is so good. That's a great takeaway, everybody. I don't know if I shared that with my students. I did that you brought up Tootsie. I was working with Jack Walter as my teacher then. I did the rounds in New York.
yeah, of course.
We, in the beginning, when he's playing the acting coach, Dustin Hoffman, that was our class. We were the actual actors in the beginning of that.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, it's great. He was great.
It was really good. Jessica Lange and Gina Davis was in my class, and I think Jack Waltzer helped her to get that role or get that audition, and
Yeah.
so good break for her.
But
But
when he talks about that, Dabney Coleman was a good friend of mine who was like he was like the commercial director, in the beginning, Dabney Coleman. And
oh
yeah, Dabney, he was in 9 to 5, did a million movies.
yeah,
But it kind of gives you a little inside look at acting.
yeah, it really does. But you guys are hearing that dedication, commitment, and when you hear some of Mr. Stallone's stories here, I don't know anybody else that has so much perseverance and commitment. And if you watch the documentary, you would have seen so much of that in there. It's very inspiring, very motivating and all of that. And, you know, and the thing that you're hearing too, and I'll continue to introduce, is the preparation. Why it's so important, because, you know, he could have his brother, or we can have connections. All of us could have connections, but we have to come to the table with something too.
Yeah,
And
they're not that they're in Hollywood. It doesn't matter who your relative is. They're not that gracious as far as that.
yeah,
And you know, and that's fine. I mean, you know, it's fine. But I think it's something you want to do, but something you almost have to do. I mean, to really to deal with the slings and arrows and the things that come your way, you have to want to do it, and you got to have your head on straight. I mean, I know guys. Listen, two guys I did movies with. Michael Madsen, he's dead. You know, what was his name? Tom. He died. Just drugs and alcohol. You know, they
mm,
just, you know, they had these Tom Sizemore, and they just had great careers, and they just destroyed them. I mean, you know, some it can come from self-loathing. Maybe you become successful deep down, you don't really think you're worthy of the
yeah,
success, and it can be a very dangerous trap. So,
wow,
good to kind of, you know, keep your head on straight and keep a reality check that you are not going to get every part. As I've learned that, and talking to a lot of casting people, you know, after the fact later on, they said, Frank, we basically have our minds made up who we want before we even have the casting call. They know who they want. They're waiting for this person, and maybe it's someone they want that they probably can't get, but they're hoping to get. So they're just hoping someone's going to come in and just knock them on their tail. You know,
mm,
wow, look at this new discovery. You know, so it's like when you saw Brad Pitt in Thelma and Louise first movie, you just
yeah,
looked at him and said, "Who's this guy?" You know, it's an it factor too. You just looked at this guy, great build, like great looking. You go, where did this guy come from? And then from there was, you know, Legends of the Fall, and you know, the rest is history. Same with Tom Cruise. I mean, he was the third lead in Taps. He wasn't the star, and now he's one of the most, you know, successful actors in Hollywood. But again, he works really hard.
yes.
Who else do we have?
Carter, Vincent.
Okay,
Yes. Hello, my name is Vincent. As Italian to another, my last name is Ricardo.
Terry.
Yeah. No, I live north of Dayton, Ohio. So I was,
Okay.
and originally started out as a writer and musician, and then went on. People I met, I ended up getting into the acting industry.
Uh,
And no, because like you said, it doesn't matter who you're related to. It's about the work.
yeah, it's all work. Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, the play's the thing. You know, and you know what? Honest to God, as I'm getting older, I think it's better actually being a character actor than a star. Character actors work forever. I mean, you know, you think of Charles Durning, all these guys, you look at their resumes, even if you go on IMDb, you look at this movie, yeah, I've seen this guy like 250 movies. Character actors will work longer because they're not like a guy that's like this perfect looking guy. But then when that perfect looking guy starts aging, he's not that perfect anymore. And then all of a sudden it's like, ah. Tony Curtis told me something, and I hope your class can hear this. Tony Curtis at one time was one of the best looking guys in Hollywood. He was a huge star. And he said there's four stages in an actor's life. One is who's Tony Curtis. Second, get me Tony Curtis. Third, get me a young Tony Curtis. Fourth, who's Tony Curtis.
Wow.
Okay, so it's going to ebb and flow. It doesn't matter who you are. My brother, as big as he is, didn't work for almost 10 years, and this is after Rambo and Rocky and Cliffhanger. It just sometimes it just stops, you know. So that's why I think it's sometimes easier to be like Ed Harris is kind of a leading character actor. You know what I mean? I'd rather have that career. I mean, because they forever, because they're not relying on, you know, coming in being ripped and, you know, hair perfect. They can do just a lot of different parts. No, I'm serious. I mean, now
Yeah, you're
I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow. I have a few scripts I'm reading. It's like, oh yeah, you're this girl's grandfather. I go, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so now it's getting into the elder grandfather, but not like grandfather, like old, you know what I mean? Like, you know, daughter, granddaughters are like 20, something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, you're not gonna, you're not gonna be a, Benjamin Button forever,
Yeah. Well, and I think you have to ask yourselves, right? We talk about this a lot. Why are you doing this? Is it because you have to, which Frank just mentioned not long ago?
You do.
It's a calling, or are you doing this to be a star? Because that would be the wrong reason.
Oh yeah, yeah. If people go, I want to be a star, I said, boy, you're off to a
Yeah.
bad start. Learn the craft. I mean, you're off to
Right.
a bad start, man. I mean, all
No.
these actors that you see, what you don't know,
Uh,
a lot of them started in New York. I remember my brother and I were
off
talking.
Broadway.
My brother and I, all way off, bro. I remember
Oh,
my
I
brother and
started
I were
off
talking.
Broadway.
Yeah,
The
so did
first
he.
row is right at the stage.
He did a lot of these plays, like, 20 people, like in these theaters, these small little. But the thing was, I said, New York was harder to be an actor than LA because it was the heart of the theater. So all these guys that were going out for whatever parts or this were all really good actors. They might be coming off a play on Broadway and they're looking for work. So the competition was very stiff, and it wasn't based on being cute. It was like the work. I mean, when they did all those movies like French Connection, Godfather, Serpico, those are all New York. At Dog Day Afternoon, they're all New York-based films. And so the competition was very strong, but a lot of them did a lot of theater, you know. Yeah. And sometimes bad theater. I mean, there's bad theater too, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We learn something, right? All the time. There was something to always learn.
Yes.
Well, New York really is about the art for sure. Next was Victoria.
Hi, Frank.
Hi,
My
Victoria.
name's Victoria Hagnai. My dad was so excited that I was going to be on this call.
Oh,
He's a
wonderful.
big Stallone fan.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I'm an actress. I've been acting with Tina's school for about 3 years, and I started in filmmaking. So ultimately, the goal is to film, direct, and
yeah.
probably, act as well. But yeah, I love writing. I love storytelling. I'm obsessed with Russian literature, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
think that's
nerdy.
great.
So
Well, I
that's
think
me.
that's great. I mean, again, there's so many facets of the business, film editing, storyboarding, all kinds of stuff. So and a lot of people that were actors that were very successful ended up getting in
No, I
directing
froze.
or directing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, hello,
Oh, I think we froze
I
for,
see you.
oh, yeah, I think we froze. Are we
Oh,
all
okay.
here?
I'm seeing people move.
No, we're all here, Tina. So I'm wondering if it's your internet.
Okay, yeah, it's a little unstable. It's okay. Okay,
Nobody.
go ahead. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, well, I mean, but there's so many facets out there to do behind the scenes. A lot of actors end up liking directing more than they did acting. It's like you're captain of the ship. You can mold it into anything you want.
Yeah, I
Well,
love the like David O'Reilly, like writer director.
absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's a fun process all around. The writing, the directing, you're just kind of putting the puzzle together. And I've seen some movies. Editing is magic. I mean, I've seen a movie that became very biggest movie of the year, and I saw the rough cut. It was literally unwatchable, unwatchable.
Wow.
And it went into the editing room, became the biggest movie of the year. And you know what that movie was? First Blood.
First Flood?
First
Wow.
Blood. Rambo. First Blood.
Wow.
It
Oh,
was a small
really?
movie. They brought it over to the house. We watched it. And Sly goes, I don't care what it costs. I want to buy this negative and burn it because they're going to ruin my career. And he said, no, anyway. So he went in. He's a very good editor. And he sat with the editor and voila, became one of the biggest
Wow.
movies of the year. So, I mean, that's a beautiful editing is a wonderful thing because you can get something, just the raw footage is like, Jesus Christ, how are we going to put this together? and then there's the movie magic, man, the movieola boy, and then you can just mold it in anything you want. That's I think editing is real exciting. It's like when you do an album, mixing the album, because
Yeah.
you can just yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've done records. I went, oh boy, this is big trouble right here. And then you just get away from it for like a week, and you come back in and say, okay, this works here, this works here. Next, this works here, and then all of a sudden comes a smash record. Who else do we have?
Pretty awesome. You do edit, Victoria. You do editing.
Day and night, day and night.
Yeah, all day and night.
I think editing's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, we do here at the school, Victoria and I work together as well with because she has the filmmaking background. We do demos for the students, or
Yeah.
if somebody have a demo, and so she does the editing of the demos after we shoot them. So she's in there editing a lot.
Well, you
It
know,
is
I think it's good for actors, whatever you're doing, whether you're doing it's good to have, not that I don't even know if they watch them anymore, but it's good to have a reel like on Actors Access or IMDb. I mean, I just went through this and they said, well, can Frank do what's it called now? What they're doing, video. I
self-tapes.
said I'm not self-taping. I said,
No, you're not. That's not you. Yeah.
my manager goes, no, we're not self-taping. I mean, you know, and I feel bad for the younger actors because it's really a cheesy way of doing it because casting has gotten very lazy. I mean, before we'd have casting calls, you'd see 50 people sitting around, but it was kind of exciting because you're acting with another actor. But I think self-taping is dreadful. It's very hard to do a convincing scene unless
an art
someone like
itself, for sure.
Victoria with a camera, you have two people acting, she could edit it, it could look great. I mean, if you're sitting there on your iPhone, it's gonna be eh. And if it sucks and you send it in, they'll go, yeah, we saw this guy, he's terrible. You know, so you be very careful with that. So what I do is I tell my manager, I said, listen, I'll take a meeting, I'll do an audition, but I'm just not gonna self-tape. I'm just not gonna do it. Not at this point.
Yeah, no, but you guys aren't Frank.
Well, yeah,
more.
but yeah, I mean, I got a script in today that's going to go. It's I for some reason I always get cast as gangsters, always the bad guy. I never get cast as like a tennis pro or a college professor, but but that's okay. The bad guys are fun to play. Bad guys are actually more fun to play than the good guys because there's a lot more leeway. Like James Cagney was such a great bad guy because you liked him too.
Yeah. Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like you look at Scarface, Tony Montana is an animal, but there's things about you like him. I don't know what it is. Like Lee Marvin, there's so many levels to playing a bad guy. A good person has to kind of be good. The bad guy can be good, he can be bad, he can be in between, he can be conniving, he can be this. So there's a lot of colors into being the bad guy.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Bringing all those layers into it, guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So good. Uh, Hillary and then Natalie.
Okay. Hillary and
Hi. Hi.
hello.
I'm Hillary. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm brand new to this, don't know anything. However, I'm a professional musician, professional dancer. I've been in Cirque du Soleil and
There we go.
I actually have some original music that's in a movie and on a soundtrack to the movie.
Well, you're in show business already.
But I want to study
Another
acting.
facet. That's okay. You're
You
in
know what
show
she
business.
does?
It's just
You
a
know what she
different-
does too? She's a is it dancing fiddler? Is that what you do?
I'm a dancing fiddler and content creator on social media.
That's great. That's wonderful. You know, of course, my passion is always going to go to the music because that's how I started out. And my grandfather was a violinist, by the way. But I mean, music. How many people do you know when they grow older? And they see someone playing piano, said, I'm so mad that my mother didn't make me take piano lessons, or like I quit the piano. It's something you can do for the rest of your life. I mean, I sit around, I piddle on my guitars and mandolin all the time. I have guitars in every room in the house. I just sit around.
Yeah.
I just entertain myself. And that's the same thing with a piano. I wish I would have stayed with piano. You could just sit there all day and just entertain yourself and take yourself out of the equation of Hollywood.
That's so
That's
cool.
it.
So now you're venturing into the acting. She just signed up and going to start classes. So we're excited to have you.
Well,
This
obviously
is
she has dedication and because to play violin is not easy. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of you gotta be very regulated. And same thing with acting. I mean, you know, it's a craft.
Yeah,
So it just doesn't. I love when people. It's just not. Yeah, people have maybe a natural aptitude. Maybe they're just naturally funny or they're naturally this. But it's a learned craft for sure.
amen. Amen. Natalie.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Frank. It's a pleasure to
Hi,
meet you.
Natalie.
Uh, I'm located in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been studying with Tina for the last three years, I believe.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and I've also been taking a few scene studying classes around town as well.
Very important.
Yeah, but that's pretty much about it.
Melissa.
Excuse me. That's very important. We talked about that before. Scene study. You know, because it's like preparedness at the time of opportunity. I mean, you could get a call.
Yeah.
That's right.
You could get a call, and it's actually if you have the right scene study partners, it can be a lot of fun because you can do anything you want. You figure, okay, let's work on this, let's work on that. You know, try something like that. So I think I wish I did more of it myself, but you know, I happened to be working a lot, but I did go to acting class, and I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I actually had fun because there were some people that came in that were just so bad and so over the top. And I said, this guy's got a lot of guts. You got a lot. You know, I mean, it's like, and some people would take on something that is way, way out of their pay grade, and they would just die. And I said, but everyone dies in acting class. There's not a person alive that doesn't some days like really suck. It's like, oh God, they go home and beat themselves up over it. But that's the learning process. I mean, it's like when I started playing guitar in rock bands and when I was 15, it's a learning process. They go, how do you stay on stage for 2 hours or stuff? I said, I'm just used to it. You know, you just grow into it. You find out what works for you, find out what doesn't work for you. Not everyone
Right.
can play every role. Not everyone can play every role. And
Right.
I know it's frustrating. I would like to say I'm a Shakespearean actor. Ain't gonna happen. No, it's just not my role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so good. You hear that, everybody, about the process?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a process for sure. This is so good. Great information. Melissa.
Oh, excuse me. My name is Melissa, and I am from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Oh,
Hello,
yeah.
birthplace of Elvis Presley.
Oh,
So, and I
that's
apologize.
right.
Yeah, I'm on the side of the road. I pulled over, I had something come up emergency wise, so I had to take care of that. But
That's okay.
I did not want to miss your call. So,
Well, thank you for coming in, Melissa. Yeah, Tupelo, home of Elvis, baby. That's it.
yeah, yeah.
That was mentioned.
Go ahead.
No, you go, honey. No, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say I started out young as a young ballerina,
Mhm.
and then also in theater, and then took some time off, and then I've come back just before COVID to film. So, and I have my own production company that I just started, and so a lot of things going on, a lot of plates in the air.
Well, that's good. You know, it's funny. What I'm hearing, a lot of your students are, in a way, they're starting out, but in a way, they're in show business because some of them are dancers, some of them are editors, you know, things like this. People are singers and musicians. So it's all part of show business. It's all the umbrella of show business, you know,
Yeah.
and it depends what you like focus in on. But I think it's great being able to do a lot of things. I think it keeps the engine going. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, we do. We have people from all different levels and all different types of things that they've been involved in, whether dancing, musicians, what have you.
Yeah,
All
it's
different
all part of
levels.
entertainment.
Yeah. Sippy.
Hi, can y'all hear me?
Hi, Sippy.
Hi, how are y'all doing?
Good.
Good. I was incredibly moved. Thank you for seriously the inspiration. I just met Tina at the actors conference,
Mhm.
Focus. And so I just started with her, and I am so excited to learn and be a sponge and learn all the different aspects of acting, movie producing, and all the gamut.
Well, that's the attitude to have, you know. I mean, there's a whole potpourri of things to do. And then you find out something, you know, I wanted to be an actress, but now I have more fun being an editor. I have more
Yeah.
fun doing music production. So there's a lot of offshoots. You know, there's a lot of different tentacles in the business.
Yes, sir. I'm just excited to see where God takes all this. He
Well,
opened a
that's right.
door, and I'm 53. We're empty nesters now, and so God says, "Here is a door. Walk through it, and let's see." And so I'm just like, I want to be able to help in different areas where maybe God might need me.
That's
You
good because,
know?
you know, faith, like I just did a movie with Angel
Mhm.
Studios, which is basically a faith-based.
Yes, we know them very well.
Yeah, very well, out of Provo, Utah. And it
Yeah.
was so different because I'm a man of faith myself. And they're so different going there. And the whole vibe there is so different. You know,
Yeah.
even though they're Mormons, it doesn't matter. They're still, you know, faith-based and whatever. It's Catholic, Baptist, Protestant. And it was just really nice to see that it was just a different vibe. But a
Yeah.
lot of those type movies are creeping back in, which is very good. I think we've seen enough TNA. I think we've seen enough vulgar language in film. I think we've seen, you know, and I did a movie, and this one movie I said, but let me just tell you from day one, start. I don't do nudity, and I don't, I mean, I have cursed in movies. I mean, if you see some of my movies, but it's kind of better if you can kind of get the same point across. Like if
Yes,
you
sir.
look at,
Absolutely.
yeah, if you know, and but I think a lot of that content is starting to come back in because if any generation needs some faith now and some belief, it's now.
Yes,
Amen.
sir.
We've gone way off the rails with that, you know.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's where my heart is too.
Amen. Yeah. We have a lot
Absolutely.
of students that work with in the faith base, which is Kendrick Brothers, the Irwin Brothers. Dennis,
Yes,
yeah, Dennis Quaid works a lot.
Dennis is great. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Irwins. When I was out in the Movie Guide Awards 2 years ago, he was there. He's doing really well now and walking the faith walk too, so which is great to see.
Look at Jim Caviezel.
Yeah, he's doing fabulous. Thank God.
But he was kind of, believe it or not, you would find it weird. I think he had almost 2 heart attacks doing
Passion of the Christ.
You know, the Christ. He was very sick. He almost died doing it. And it just reinforced his faith, as also another actor, Neil McDonough.
Yeah,
Was
yeah, I
also
talked to him last week. I actually talked to him last week. Yeah.
one. And but he was actually, his career was actually ruined doing that movie. I said, it's, to me, it's probably, I mean, there are some parts of it I can't see, like the crucifixion's definitely not my bag. I mean, but you know what I mean? But it's, when you think of the movie, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, to learn Aramaic, I mean, that's when the acting, that's when the craft comes in. That's when the memory work comes in. That's when, you know, Chris Mitchum was a friend of his father's, Robert Mitchum. Now here's Robert Mitchum. You think he's drunk and high all the time, which he was, but he had a photographic memory. He'd read the script once, he never had to read it again. Chris was, my brother did a movie there. He goes, this guy knew your lines and his lines. Just one of those freaky things. He just had that photographic memory. It's like the kid in high school that's sitting there messing around, but he picks up everything. He never even does homework and gets straight A's because they absorb everything. It's. I wish I had that. You know. So.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask, does anybody have some questions? Because I know time and I just so appreciate
Go
for
ahead.
giving us time here like this. So hand that I first saw was Victoria.
Yes.
Hi, Frank. So I had a question about, since you do so many different things, what is your creative process like? Is it similar for acting as it is with music, or does it differentiate a lot?
I think I put the same intention in. It's like anything. It's like when you write music, it's a blank sheet of music. What do I do? Okay. Same thing when you get a script. The first time you read it, you go, oh boy, how am I going to figure this out? And then I realized when you watch some of these greatest movies, say, I have no idea what I'm going to do. But I think it's the repetition.
That's right.
Peter O'Toole was saying, I would read the script over,
Over and over and over again.
over, break it down to kind of find my niche in there. So I think like when I rehearse my band, I want to be really good. You know, most of my guys are really good sight readers, but I don't want to rely. I want soul too. I want to have like, passion. I just don't want to be robotic. And I think the same thing is with acting. And a lot of times you're going to have some directors that are a drag. I mean, I've done some movies where the script was terrible, and no, you can't change that line. And that's not fun. That's not fun. It's really fun when you have a director who says, you know what? That works. Let's try it. You know, and I think I've been in some movies like the no thing is never tell an actor how to act. You say, hey, you know what do you think of this? This might be kind of cool. But I've seen really bad blowups and says, hey, this is what you should do. This is what I want you to do. You can't do that. Director can do that because this is what I'd like to see happen. But I think with actors, there's a way to get around it to get it done. When I did Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn, we had our scenes down. He goes, you know what, man? What do you think about taking it another way? I said, why not? And he was very good at that. He has good comedy sense. And it was almost different than what the script was. But I was open to it. And I think you have to be open to it. I know when my brother's directed movies, he's always a guy I go, Sly, what do you think if maybe we do something like this? He goes, yeah, that sounds good. That's good. That's a good director.
Yeah.
That's a guy but when you did like Sopranos, you couldn't change one word. My friend did the show, Joe Penny. He goes, Frank, not one word.
Really. We actually brought Vincent Pastore in one
Oh, I
time.
know Penny.
Yeah,
Penny's
Vinny. He joined us. And what's her name? The blonde that married to Van Zant. Maureen Van Zant.
Sorry.
They were both on that show. They joined us.
can't change the line.
No, yeah,
I mean,
that's tough.
well, Neil Simon was like that too. You couldn't change a word.
Mm,
A word. He said, I worked a lot on these words. You can't change a word. So you get that. And that's something else that can happen where the preparation comes in. You say, well, I don't really talk like that. They don't care. That's what they want, you
yeah.
know. But I've been pretty fortunate, to be able, well, being a writer, I have a pretty good sense of things. Not like taking it way over the top because I said my cadence doesn't work like this. How about if I do it like this? That's good. Sounds better. And I think that's a really good sign of a director. But you get some guys that are very autocratic and very dictatorial, very ham-fisted. It happens. But most of the good ones are pretty good about it.
Awesome. So your process then is doing everything with intention and then taking your script and reading it over and over again. Is that what
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, I mean, I do, and I take pieces of it.
Yeah.
And, I have a bad habit, reading it and then trying to remember it. He goes, no, read the script first,
That's
then
right.
go back. What I do is I use the yellow magic marker on my scenes,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put those colored tabs on my page.
Mm-hmm.
So I know where I'm going. And I'll
Mhm.
just go back and I'll go back and I'll just go over it. And I'll say maybe 3 or 4 lines,
Mm-hmm.
remember it, and then I'll do, like Tom Cruise is dyslexic. I mean,
Yeah.
he really go over his lines.
Yeah.
My brother has a little tape recorder, always, and it's other people, and he does his lines.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has a different process. Some people have great memories, but there are things. Everyone's going to go up on their lines once in a while. I mean, it's no one's perfect. I mean, the greatest actors in the world will sit there and flub their lines, but basically they kind of have a concept where they're at. It's not like they're gonna blow over your line. They might just, "Oop, sorry," but it just happens. That's just part of the deal. You know,
Yeah.
you can't beat yourself up too much. You can't put so much pressure on you that you're supposed to have a good time. You're playing someone else. You know, you're getting out of your own stuff. So it can be a lot of fun. I've done
Yeah.
some movies I had a blast on, and they were serious. I never laughed so hard in my life. When we did Tales from the Crypt, me and John Stamos, we were in Johnny Roast Beef. We were laughing
Work
so
with
hard.
Johnny?
Huh?
I know you work with Johnny. I was with Johnny on General Hospital when we were.
Johnny's the best. He
Yeah.
did the thing. He went off script with Eileen Brennan,
Yeah.
and he just went, and she got so mad at him, and so because he goes, "Hey, listen, you know how he is. He's like big
He
character."
was the best. He
But
was
we
great to work
said,
with. Yeah.
we just laughed. We just laughed so much on that thing because it's supposed to be creepy. You know, you walk in, you see the skulls. It's like you're walking in someone's front room. It's like it's not scary at all when you're there, but it was a lot of fun. It's usually the real serious movies that you crack up the most because you're so intent on being serious. One guy will start something and then you get the giggles. It's a lot
That's
of fun.
I don't know if I read this somewhere. Is this true? This is a piece that's about your brother. It said something where Sly learns every role, everyone's role or something in the script,
Yes, yes. He reads everyone's lines.
and then learns all the different
Yeah.
elements of the job and everything, right? He like learns it all. Is that right?
Yeah, and he really studies very hard. You know, we both have ADH, you know, or what ADL, whatever else called. So we have to kind of concentrate on it. It's not like it's, you know, yeah. He sits there. He has one of those little tape recorders. There's
Wow.
all of a
Gotta
sudden
do
we go, da, da, da.
Yeah.
We sit there. I watch him. Yeah. So then I walk in, bump, bump. But he takes it apart and he knows everyone's like scenes. So he knows so that you know what's going on.
You're right,
You
exactly.
know the gist of it. I am guilty, and I've done it before, like some little movie, like a day shoot. It's a day shoot. I basically have like, you know, maybe 2 pages. So I'm basically concentrating. I mean, it's not that interesting anyway. So I'm just basically concentrating on my stuff because basically a lot of you guys out there will get those parts where it's just a day shoot. It might be, you know, 4, 5, 6 lines or something, but know those 4 or 6 lines. And, you know, and you can kind of glance through the script, you know, but the most important thing is your lines with your character. You got to know that character.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cool.
acting is a reaction.
Mhm.
Is a reaction to an action to a reaction to an action.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so I think, yes, my brother knows everyone's part. By
That's
time,
incredible.
by time the shoot, he knows everyone's lines. Uh, so where you know where you're at. And I've just, I mean, you got to watch this thing. It's online about Peter O'Toole talking. He goes, I do excruciating research in reading
Mhm.
on the script a lot. It just doesn't, you know, you just don't come in and just do Beckett off the top of your head. It's a lot of work. You know, there was like, you know, Judy Dench was on a show and the guy, can you do a line of Shakespeare, a sonnet from Shakespeare? Boom. She's a Shakespearean actress. I mean, that's tough. Like if someone said, Frank, listen, we'd love you to do Shakespeare. I said, you know what? I got to tell you, not quite in my toolbox. It could be really, that could be a messy one.
I bet you could do it.
Well, you know, I guess if you adapt yourself to it, yeah.
Yeah. It was intimidating. I stayed away from it myself, but I wish I would have dived into it.
Well, it's a different speech pattern. People
Yeah.
don't talk like that anymore. You know, it's old English. It's like, you know, if you read the Bible, you know, the original version is, you know, opposed to the new version, it's a lot more difficult. I remember when I used to go to mass, it was in Latin, which was kind of unfair. We just remembered what he said. We didn't know what he was saying though. And then they changed it over to English. We just knew when he said that, everyone's looking around. Okay, well, it's, but
So
yeah.
good.
Any other
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, any other questions? Cassidy?
Let me unmute myself. Yeah, so what do you think keeps someone working long term versus someone who works short periods of times and burns out?
Well, it's a different thing. I think work begets work. A lot of times I'll do I've done like a smaller movie, and then all of a sudden, you show up on time, you do your job, then the guy goes, maybe he gets a big movie. He goes, you know what? I really like working with this person. They were really nice when I was starting out. Couldn't pay them a lot, and they came in. They're real professional, and I think work begets work. I mean, do the little roles. I mean, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna be sitting home. Here you're on a set. You're with other actors, and you never know. You might be talking to another actor. Said, yeah, might be doing this other movie. You'd be good for. You should go audition for. So I think schmoozing is pretty good. I wish I did more of it. I wish I did more networking. If you watch my documentary, I'm very honest about it. I wish I did a little more networking because there's a lot of actors, they weren't that great, but they did a lot of networking. Right
Wait,
place.
can I ask another question?
Hey, sure.
Because with networking, now social media is such a big thing.
Yeah.
How do you balance networking with personal connections in person versus through, because I think a lot of connections kind of are through social media now, especially with self-tapes.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a different world than when I came in. It is. I mean, we do live in a social media world. I would be a little cautious because I'm sure there are some dubious people out there. Hey, babe, I'm doing this. You gotta be careful with that too. It's like it's kind of online casting couch, so you gotta be careful with that because there's, that also could be very dangerous. I would never. If someone goes, hey, you know what? You're really pretty. You look good. You should meet me. I said, nah, 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 none of that stuff. Meet me in Starbucks or something with you're with a friend. I say you got to be a little careful with that because
Okay.
there's a lot of dubious stuff that goes on, at least used to. But social media, I mean, it can be great. I mean, again, like look what we're doing here. We're doing a networking. It's really wonderful. But I think on a personal basis, I think you have to be cautious, but nowadays you can look someone up. Well, this guy's doing this movie. Okay, first thing I'm hitting, oh, he's done all this. I go IMDb and find out he's done nothing. So, I get a lot of this stuff. Hey, man, I'm doing this movie. Would you like to be involved in the production? I go, no, I want you to do this movie. I said, so basically, I'm at the point, I told my manager, I said, let's just get an offer. I'm not going to sit there for 3 hours reading a script without an offer. I mean, I got better things to do. So if it's real, just suss it out. But always be a little cautious. There are a lot of creepy people in show business that are sometimes predatorial. So you got to be. But there's also good people. I mean, you have a good group of people here. You never know. Someone says, hey, you know what, Cassie, you'd be great for this little movie I'm doing. Boom, go out, meet the people, whatever. So I think networking it can be very, very, very good. And I think it's a lot easier now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
not a fan of self-taping. I know you guys really have no choice in it. Uh, and I don't like it, but what are you gonna do? I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, that's really good too, because Rob Kirkland, we brought him in one time. He's on like 3 shows at one time. I don't know if you know Rob or not. But he's on Yellowstone, a lot of cursing in all these shows, but Mayor
Yeah.
of Town and Criminal Minds. And
Oh, that's great stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
American Town's great.
but how he got these roles with Tyler Sheridan is because they were in acting school together.
There you go. Well, look at um oh God, he's a friend of mine. He's on well, my friend Jimmy Russo is now on Tulsa King. So is what was the guy who played oh, you know him. He was also in 1923. William he was also he did the thing with Arnold. You know what I'm talking about.
Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, he did that movie. William, he was the star of it with the second movie. What was it called?
Anybody know?
Is it Harrison Ford?
No, no, no. But he works all the time. You'll well, hold on one second. God, my mind is that's one thing
I
that
do that
goes.
all the time. I do it all the time.
Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, but it's yeah, you know, Tulsa King. Okay, hold on one second. But anyway, he did some Taylor Sheridan stuff,
Yeah,
and now Robert Patrick. I'm sorry.
oh, Robert Patrick.
He played the
Okay.
sheriff in 1923. He was also he does a lot of movies, and now he's in Tulsa King. And
Oh,
Frank Grillo's in it, and all these people. I said all my friends are in it except me. I said that's great, guys. But but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But here's a guy who works all the time. Works all the time. You
yeah.
know, and it has a lot to do with your professionalism. I am a stickler of not being late. I hate it, And I remember I had dinner with Frank Sinatra years ago, and he was there before everyone showed up. That was
Absolutely.
his thing. He says, when you're on time, you're late. He would always get there, and if you showed up late, you're done. He'd never talk to you again because he
Can
goes,
I add something to that?
yeah.
I have to add something to that. I was so young then when I was on the road with him, 2.5 years. And
Mhm.
something I learned that I could reflect back on, did not realize it in the time because I didn't even know acting schools existed,
Oh, yeah.
but he rehearsed
Oh,
with
yeah.
band every day.
Yes, he did.
Same show every day. Irving Kotler, all of them. Vinnie
Herb Cotler, yeah.
Falcone. Vinnie Falcone. Vinnie
Huh?
was the director. He
Yeah,
was
yeah. Oh, Vinnie Falcone, yeah.
Benny Falcone and Pat Henry and Marlene Rickey, but every day with that orchestra. And I remember thinking, why does he do this? It's same show every day. He rehearsed every day, guys.
He wants to be good. He wants to be good. He's Frank Sinatra, and he wants to go up there and give. And he said, Frank, never insult your audience. He goes,
Mm.
go out, you do your work, and you show up on time and you show up prepared. It really sounds redundant, but it really goes a long way. It shows you, even when you're starting out at your guy's level, it shows a professionalism. I said, wow, this person showed up. Oh, we were not starting for like 20 minutes. Yeah, but I just like to get here early, just kind of, work on my lines and stuff. And that does not go unnoticed because I'm going to leave a name. You know who he is. But I'm going to leave him. I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, he had a big part coming up on Tulsa King. Came in. He looked bad. Couldn't remember his lines. Now he had a big part Kevin Pollak ended up getting. So Sly goes, oh, well, okay, what are we going to do? He's had the script, but gave him a teleprompter. Couldn't remember his lines. That day, he was fired.
Yep.
This guy's been on big series, been movies, called in Kevin Pollak. Bingo. Because Kevin's a pro. So, when you're around I hate to say it and sound like kind of materialistic, but time is money in movies. I mean, it's clocking time. So I think being really professional, it's like when you do a gig, like when I do music, you got to be on time. I used to open for Don Rickles all the time. When they say 8 o'clock, they don't mean 8:10, 8:05. That baton comes down at 8 o'clock and you're off at 8:35, not 8:45, because he's coming on. And yeah, so there's a regimentation to it that's very important.
Wow, that's so good. Yep. Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Uh, Audrey, then Kate.
Okay.
So I know Victoria had asked kind of what your process was, and it touched on the acting side. But as I was watching your documentary, you talked a lot about, obviously your passion for music and your love for it, and how you did so many different styles. Like you had all these different passions. And that really spoke to me because ever since I was little, I've wanted to do like every job under the sun, but everything came back to performing. So I've always had all these different passions and stuff. And as I discovered acting, that's where I was like, okay, performing is the center of it. So I want to ask, what is your process for songwriting when you're thinking about music? What does that process look like for you?
I think with me, because I do lyrics and music, I think the music comes first. I'm not like one of the scribblers that I have friends of mine that just write all the time. They're writing that. Once I kind of get a feel for the music, and then the lyrics start coming in. Of course, it's like hit and miss. Well, this one, boy, it sounds really good with the song, but it's so doesn't work. It's terrible. Like, there was, if you watch the Billy Joel documentary, he says, there's nothing more than I hate than to sit down at my piano with a piece of blank music paper and
Yeah.
create something from nothing. He goes, it's painful, it's torturous because you're on your own, I mean, and so with me, the music, the melody comes first. Or sometimes I might have a lyric idea, but I'm not the type of person that goes, "Hey, I was just out today. I think I'm gonna write a song about these hummingbirds or something like that." No,
Yes, sir.
I think other people, there are people that are obsessive writers, like, and they're always writing like phrases and lyrics, which is a good thing too. I mean, and there's some people like Elton John. He just writes the music, and Bernie Taupin writes the lyrics. George Gershwin wrote the music. Ira Gershwin wrote the lyrics. So there's that too. Rodgers and Hammerstein. Cole Porter was one of the very few ones. Like Wagner did everything. He did the costume. He did the lighting. He wrote the libretto. He wrote the music, and he probably has more classical pieces than anyone in history. Wagner wrote everything. He didn't have any partners, which is amazing. Puccini the same way. So that's all. I mean, you're doing like Madame Butterfly, where you're doing, Turandot. You're writing an opera. That's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of voices coming in and doing the music. So some people are multifaceted, can do. It's incredible when you listen to like Aaron Copland. That's a tremendous amount of work. But
Yes, sir.
I sit there and go, I don't even know how they go. I listen to Tchaikovsky's Six. I go, where's that come from? Or when you listen to Beethoven, you go, you have nothing to bounce off. You're in the middle of nowhere. It's like the 18th century. It's not like you sit there and go on, hey man, let me steal this from this group. You got to just no, there's no one around. They
Mhm.
lived out in the country and just sat there. He didn't even have a piano. He had a harpsichord. They didn't have a piano then. So I mean, it's pretty amazing. People can do amazing things. I mean, there's some acting roles. I saw M. Butterfly on in Broadway, and John Lithgow was the star. And
Mhm.
I was sitting there with my brother, and our mouths were like this. It was a tour de force. Unbelievable. I mean, you're talking pages of dialogue and intention. I said, oh, my Sly goes, I could never do that. I said, me neither. It was just he's some of these stage actors are amazing. I mean, the dialogue and the intention. But it's like if you watch that movie, My Favorite Year with Peter O'Toole, when she goes, and because it's based kind of on Errol Flynn, and he was this big movie star in the 30s, and someone goes, "You want to do a play?" He goes, "I'm an actor. I'm not a movie. I'm a movie star, not an actor." I mean, but the thing is, some people the camera loves them, and
Mhm.
there's some people that are great stage actors. They don't relate. They're too big for the film. You know what I mean? The
Yes.
subtlety, and the eyes and you're here right here, a little different than when you're on a stage. So
Mhm.
everyone has their niche, and but a lot of actors I know that are film actors, Henry Fonda, Jimmy Stewart, they loved going back to Broadway. They loved it. I mean,
Mhm.
they did the movies so they have enough money to go back to do a play. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you.
my
I
pleasure.
see three more hands. Carter, then Kate, then Vincent.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Frank.
Pleasure.
So, Frank, one thing I wanted to ask about was something that came up in your documentary where you had an injury to your hand from that gunshot.
Yes.
And obviously, that's not
Not fun being a guitar player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And so that was something that directly threatened, all these things that you love to do.
Yeah.
What was that like mentally and
Well,
physically?
it was traumatic. I was on a lunch break, and I went into a gun store because I used to love old World War II and Civil War guns. I figured, I'd kill some time. And walked in, the gun store owner was there, and he looked like he was a little in the bag or something. I said, "Well, can I see that?" And always, when a gun store owner, he'll take out if it's a revolver and he'll break the cylinder, like on a movie set.
Yeah.
It's clear. I said, okay. Then, so I was there over in the corner looking at something, and he was talking to a guy. He goes, "Yeah, look at the action on this pistol." He took a gun out of his case pistol. The next thing I heard was bang, and caught me right here in the hand, and just blood all. He goes, "What happened?" I go, "Well, I think you shot me."
Wow.
So wrapped a towel around my hand, and thank God Cedar Sinai was there. I'm there. Oh boy, this is great. And so I had a great doctor, Miles Cohen, and he fixed it all up. So it's like good as new, but it could have shot me in the gut.
Ah,
I mean, it could have, shot me in the wherever. And here's the funny thing of the irony where you have to have a sense of humor. I just had a hit record maybe a year and a half before that. I'm shot. I'm in the hospital. And it's kind of funny when I think about it because it's so ridiculous. It's all of a sudden, it's not so there's a thing in the National Enquirer. Rambo's brother shot and he's mad. It's not even a picture of me. It's a picture of him with a headband on. So it's like I'm just there, you know what I mean? But it was kind of funny. A picture of him as Rambo's brother shot. It was just like, I can't win. And if you just if you can't take that with a grain of salt, you're in the wrong business because this is a very, but yeah, to get back to that, and it was like, oh man. So I forget that I was writing everything with my left hand. I wish I had stuff. I wish I saved things. It probably looked like chicken scratching because I'm right-handed, but I had to learn how to, to write everything with my left hand and this hand. And thank the Lord, it came out good. But it could have been worse. I could have been shot in the gut. That would have been it.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going with the hands that are up here that I see. Okay, Vincent, Kate. How about Kate and then Vincent? Kate.
Okay, Kate.
Hi, Frank. I just wanted to say I love Take You Back. Rocky is the reason that I wanted to get into filmmaking. So I just wanted to know what your experience was like on that franchise and, any lessons learned or anything.
Well, I was living in Trenton, New Jersey. I had a band, and we're not making a lot of money, but we played all the time. We were a really, really good band, and we played all the time. We were pretty popular. And I got a call from my brother. He had moved to California at that point. And I never forget, it was an orange wall phone, like a rotary phone. One of those things. He said, "Hey, brother." I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm doing a movie about boxing." Yeah, okay, great. He goes, "You think you could write something for it?" And I'm thinking, like, that's a new one, write for a boxing movie. So I had no clue. So I figure he goes, yeah, like like when you used to do a cappella music, like when I was a kid, you'd sing like the Platters and all that stuff like that. I said, okay. So I started working on Take You Back, just on my guitar going, dun 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 dun, take you back, dun, dun, dun. And all of a sudden I kind of came up with this song, but I didn't hear from him for like 6 months. He goes, "Yeah, I'm in Philly. You got that song?" I said, "Well, thanks for the heads up." You know. So he says, "Yeah, you're gonna come down." And remember, Rocky's a very small budget movie. This was not there was all unknowns in it, basically, except for Burgess Meredith. I mean, other ones were like, but they weren't like household names. So I got my band down there and said, "Yeah, we can pay you $140." I go, $140. Well, that was a little more than we were getting for playing with the whole band one night. We said about $140. He goes, I said, I don't know. The guys said, yeah, the guys go, nah, I don't want to go down to Philly for $140 and sit out on a street corner. So we waited a while to go, okay, it's $140 each. I go, $140 each? That was like a fortune. I mean, I figure if we were playing for $125 a night with five guys, split five ways, and the manager takes 20%, we were playing like 168 minutes of music a night for like $20 or something like that. So $140 was like, whoa. So we went downtown to Philadelphia, stood on the street corner. It was freezing out. Again, just a small movie. We did our thing, take you back, do 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 do. Na, na, na. It's really good. I think we did two takes, and he walks around the corner. There's the bum from the dark, and blah blah blah. And didn't think anything of it because we were trying to get a record deal at that point. And the next thing, I was in Manhattan in those days, which they don't have anymore. They had big newsstands, newspapers, Variety, everything. And I'm sitting there like this, and I go like this. I look at Variety, and the whole front page is a picture of my brother. It says, "Is this the next Dean or Brando?" I'm there. Whoa, wait a second. Where did this come from? And then it was just like this small little movie that just caught on. It came at again, what we talk about. It was the right time, the right person. He didn't look like the actors at that time, like, Ryan O'Neal. He kind of slurred. He didn't look like your regular guy. And people related to it. The regular working guy related to it because it was like, gee, I wish I could get a shot at something. I always wanted to do this. So it related to people. And the song was in there, and it was like, oh my God. It was like, I mean, I was living in an $80 a month apartment. I mean, and all of a sudden, this monster movie comes out. It was pretty interesting. It was pretty exciting. It was pretty exciting. It's like out of nowhere. That's what I'm saying. You never know. Look at Blair Witch Project, cost $40,000. I think it's made like $600 million. You never know.
Wow. Amazing. Activity breeds activity.
Yeah, yeah.
Activity breeds activity. Philly went crazy, especially
Oh,
we
it
have
went
a place in Philadelphia called 9th Street, and it's all push carts.
the Italian market. Yeah.
Yeah, the Italian market, 9th Street. My dad used to take me there. We used to go get the water ice and walk all around in the
Oh,
street
yeah, yeah.
markets. Yeah, it was
That's
great.
right. And that was guerrilla filmmaking because they didn't have license hardly for any of those locations. They just set up
Wow.
a camera and did it. Like the whole thing on the steps, that was kind of an accident. They were driving around the parkway. It's like, "Oh, yeah, that'd be kind of interesting ramp." And it became one of the most famous pieces of film history.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like I'm saying, it was guerrilla filmmaking, but you had the right director, John Avildsen, the right actor, the right script, and the right actors, and it just came together.
Oh, yeah. And good story.
That was divine intervention for sure.
Amen.
Yeah.
So good.
This is not happening. Or very, very rare.
Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent.
Yes, hello, Frank. I just wanted to say thank you again for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you for cultivating the essence of life blessed to you and contributing the state of expression of you with the world.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been I hate to say the word, it's been a rocky road at times, but I get asked, what would I do different? I'll tell you what I would do different. And I think without being callous, I think I was too trusting. I believed in the goodness and I stayed with agents for too long. Like when you can't get in touch with your agent or you call, nothing's happening, that means that they're not interested in you, even though you're with them. So I just say move on and just don't your intentions. I think I waited around too long for things to happen instead of making them happen. And, and so I think if you find an agent and like you can't get in touch with them or they don't return your calls, that means that, first of all, it's rude on their part, but it means that you're not that important to them. So that means they're not going to go fight for you. And I know the difference. I had a very funny story. I just done, I think it was Barfly. And this agency called up. I didn't really have an agent at that time, and called up. He says, we'd love to represent you. Blah, 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 blah. Took me out to lunch, did champagne, bingo, like this. I said, well, this is great. This is fantastic. True story. Shows you how weird this business is. That was like on a Friday or something. On Monday, a script comes to them, a breakdown of a movie. I forget what it was, a movie about the ocean or something that my brother was starring in, and there was a part in there for his brother.
Oh,
My agents go, well, by the way, I remember the casting director was Mindy Marin. And by the way, so I think my agent name was Chris. He says, by the way, we just signed Frank Stallone last weekend, and this is perfect. It's his brother. And all of a sudden, he goes, what do you think, Frank? Come in and read as Sly's brother. And it wasn't like a huge role. It wasn't like a second lead. It was, it was down there as Frank. So all of a sudden, there's like silence on the end of the phone. Is there, Mindy? We just signed Frank. Just Barfly. And all of a sudden, she went like this. I don't see it. I never heard from that agency again. I wasn't with them for like a weekend. They said, if we can't deliver Frank Stallone as Sly's brother, we're done. So I was so full of like excitement. And it was just like, I go, wow, I'm in big trouble now. So, I mean, those are some of the foibles that happen in show business.
oh
And,
my.
and you can't get crazy. I mean, Hollywood is filled with tragedy of people that have stuck their heads in ovens and jumped off the Hollywood sign. I have a wall in my bathroom. I call it the Wall of Sorrow. And it's all these original autograph photos of silent screen stars, of people, and everyone is tragic because they let the part of the business get into the part of their soul, and they either drank themselves to death or killed themselves, and these were famous actors, silent screen actors, or when sound came in, they didn't want them, or they lost a part, the big thing, Carol Landis stuck her head in an oven, the other guy stabbed himself. I mean, so I just have that there. But you see the pictures, they're like in their heyday, autographed, beautiful. 20s, 30s. And I said, wow, this, if you're not careful, this can mess your head up. So you just have to take it. You might not get the part today, but something could happen 2 weeks later. But some people
Amen.
take it too hard. And I think you have to keep faith, say an Our Father or something, or just something. It's not the end of the world. It's a part. It's not worth
Right.
killing yourself over. I had a part I read for The Untouchables. I read for Brian De Palma, believe it or not. And I dressed the part. I was playing, I was coming in for Al Capone, which I thought I was wrong for. I don't look anything like Al Capone. Thought maybe Frank Nitti or something. So I was dressed and I walked in, I swear to God, and he's going, wow, you look really good, Frank. Justin. So did my reading with it, that Brian De Palma. I mean, so he said, why don't you come back? Are you in town? Yeah, I'll come back tomorrow. So I'm there. Oh, yes. Brian De Palma, man, the untouchable. I come back the next day, suit, playing the gangster thing. And I lost the part to who? Robert De Niro. So it doesn't matter. All of a sudden, De Niro goes, hey, I think I like to play that. Well, that was into me. But it happens. It happens. I mean, Steve Gutenberg and I were kind of looked a little alike at that time, but I was getting this amount of money and he was getting this amount of money. So the agency, who are they going to push? Steve Gutenberg. They're bringing in money for the agency. So, but that's just that's the way it goes. That's why I'm a big fan of independent films, smaller films, because you're learning your craft and you're meeting people.
Yes.
You know, to jump into something big is probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Even if you have a super agent, it probably is not going to happen because it's unfortunately it is a business. And if you're the right guy for the role and you're getting 20,000 a week, but this actor's demanding $4 million, the agency will go, well, we're going to put him in.
Yeah.
That's just
And we have so much access to create our own stuff today too. I mean,
it's so much easier. You can
yes.
sit there with a red camera and make your own movie. You got an
Yes.
iPhone. You can almost do. I mean, it's like these guys are making hit records in their front room with
Yeah.
tools and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things you can do.
So good. Yeah.
Well,
Melissa.
oh, sorry. No, I was just going to
Yeah,
say.
I'm sorry, Vincent.
Oh,
Yeah,
did I cut you off, Vincent? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. Oh, good. No, I was going to say there must be sidekick because I was actually going to ask you what you have changed for the press did what they did after telling you I was related to James Dean.
Oh boy. Well, that would be interesting if are you related to him?
I am fourth cousin.
Wow. To me, I did a movie with Dennis Hopper. Of course, I was picking his brain
Oh,
because he did Rebel Without a Cause and Giant.
oh.
And I said to him, I love James Dean. See, I like East of Eden more than Rebel Without a Cause. I think that's incredible. East of Eden. And Giant is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh.
And I asked Dennis, I said, if Jimmy would have lived, do you think he is this iconic thing because he died young? He goes, no, he goes, Frank, he was great. He was great. He would have persevered and gone on to do other stuff. Again, it factor. No one really looked like him. No one kind of talked like him. He was like it was Montgomery Clift, Marlon Brando, and James Dean. They kind of changed the face of acting. They weren't like, yes, my dear, hello, yes. They were like, yeah, well, you got Brando talking. You have Montgomery Clift, this broken soul. Then you have James Dean, this tortured guy. But I mean, look at him. I mean, he is, a matter of fact, I just bought that photograph of him walking down Broadway in the rain.
Oh, yes. I saw you post that. Oh,
To me, that's one of the most, because believe me, I've done that walk in different cities by myself, feeling sorry for myself, feeling lonely, away from home, just walking in the rain, like, where am I going? That to me is one of the most iconic pictures of ever. I love that photo. And when I think about when he did Giant, he was 23 years old. He went from jet rank young guy to jet rank the old guy. I mean, look at that scene. That was one take. That scene where he's at the table where he's drunk. That's one take.
wow. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yes. I mean, no, he was no. So Dennis Hopper goes, no, he was great. He was an oddball character, which most actors are in their own little way. I've been a little crazy to be in this business.
Yeah. Melissa.
Hey, again, I'm off the side of the road. So
There
I
you
was wondering, what is your favorite project that you've worked on, or one of your favorite projects, and why?
I think my favorite projects. Well, I love doing Tombstone because I mean, I have a library wall to wall of Western books and Western folklore. So I love that part of our country. I love the West, and I just love that pioneer thing. So that was great. And I love doing Barfly because it was just so gritty. I mean, the set was dirty. I mean, it was just like it was like a film of dirt, everywhere. And it was just something where I had to read for that a few times. I mean, Mickey Rourke told me, we were friends. He said, yeah, I'm doing this movie. You hear this all the time. I'm doing this movie, man. You'd be great for it. Okay. I didn't hear from him again for like 6 months. He was away and he goes, hey, listen, I want you to meet the director of Barfly. I said, okay, sure, great. Because he wanted me for the part. And there were a lot of actors that could have done that part. But anyway, so I met with the director Barbet Schroeder. He's like German. I don't think he got me at all. He didn't. He's just like, yeah, yeah, possible. And, you know, that's okay, great. So Mickey goes, yeah, man, I want you to go in and read for Fred Roos, and, you know, the producers. I said, okay. So I went in and read, you know, again, it's a little, like I said, it's a little different when you're reading for the producers. These are the guys that yay or nay. The casting person, yeah, he might like you, and then he tosses you up to the producers. Then that's go by that. So the pressure is on with that. And I read, they said, okay, you got the part. I go, wow, okay. I'm supposed to show up on the set. And what I heard, someone came up to Mickey and said, yeah, you know, they said to Mickey, said, listen, Mickey, I think we're not going to use Frank. I think we're going to go another way. He says, wait, we go, wait a second. First of all, you gave him the part. He's a friend of mine. His brother's a friend of mine. You gave him the part. He met the director. He read for you. He goes, if he's not on this set, I'm walking off this movie. That's pretty cool because there's and it's a very cruel pill to swallow. And a lot of people I know, like my friend Carmen Caridi, who had the part of Sonny in Godfather, and he had the part. And the last minute, we're going to go with James Caan. I was like, wow. So things like that happen. And so, yeah, but getting back to what she was saying, yeah, I would say Barfly and Tombstone were my favorite. But I also like Fred Claus because I was playing myself. It's so goofy, you know, the whole scene with Vince Vaughn. Because I love doing comedy. You know, I'm not a slapstick comic, you know, like Jim Carrey, who's a genius as far as what he does. But yeah, I think those two.
You know, I think that says a lot too. Mickey Rourke, you know, he's also a lifetime member to the Actors Studio.
Mhm.
I think he actually got in the first time, very rare, as everybody in here knows, like we talk about that a lot, but that says a lot. And I thought you were great in that film. Can you tell them the two actors you played that one scene that I think it was in the documentary with Mickey Rourke, and who was the actress?
Oh, not Faye Dunaway?
Faye
She
Dunaway.
was there, but I didn't really have a scene with her. It was a South African actress. Yeah, but most of my scenes were with Mickey. And it was just like,
Oh, good.
and my father came down to the city and goes, boy, this place is a real dump. It was a dump. It was a real bar in Culver City. It's not there anymore. And it was all those people in the background were the like regulars, and they were all ex-convicts. I'm there, whoa, man. I mean, all these guys have done serious time. All those guys you see in the background are real, you know, patrons of that bar. And I said, who did, you know, you talked to the guys. They were kind of cool, you know, they're fun. They were happy to be in the movie, drinking beer and whatever they're doing. I said, who did the most time in this whole place? I mean, who's like, they go, that guy sitting at the bar. I go, that guy? He goes, yeah, he did like 20 some years. He I said, him? It looked like a nerd. I said, this guy? These other guys were like tattooed up, big guy. He goes, yeah. He found out like his wife he was madly in love with was having an affair with a bartender. And he came in and he chopped his head off.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going, wait a second. That's like my character in this movie. I'm like Eddie the bartender having affairs with Faye Dunaway and all this stuff. I go, oh my God. I was so uncomfortable because the guy was like, obviously, he was a psychopath and he was sitting there like a nerd, but he was like a nerdy guy. He was like a business guy and he just snapped at it. I'm saying, ooh, wow, let me keep my eye on this guy. If I see a machete, I'm running, you know, guy could have a flashback. But that was fun to do. You know, I liked Mickey. We had a lot of fun on the movie. But it was, you know, I mean, again, what not a big movie, like little crappy trailers, you know. And then when I did Hudson Hawk, that's a big movie. Those are the air conditioned, you know, big honey wagon trailers, and everything is like big. But the small movies, I mean, I've done movies where there's no dressing room or trailers. You're sitting in a director chair, you know. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Wow. That's an interesting
Oh,
story. Ty.
Ty. Okay, Ty.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your documentary, and
Thank you.
the thing that really stood out to me was just your tenacity from such an young age to really pave your own way. And you had mentioned, playing professionally at 15, and
Yeah.
but then yet in school you had failing music grades, but you didn't let that stop you. Like you just
Oh,
continued
yeah.
to chart your own course. So my question is kind of a two-part question.
Okay.
Um, in an industry that where there is so much rejection and so many no's, and you've had
Yeah.
such a long career in that, what is your process for staying grounded? Would you say that it's diving deeper into the work, or finding, a complete opposite hobby to kind of take your mind away when you need to?
Well, I do, Ty. I have a lot of hobbies, and thank God. I'm a world-class collector on antique boxing memorabilia. I have a whole museum here, and I love to go competitive trap shooting. Um, so I have different hobbies. I mean, I'm a voracious reader, so so I can kind of take myself out of it, and I think it's really good to have a hobby, whether it's collecting stamps or antiques or something. I think it's good for your head to have something else to do to keep you occupied. Yeah, my situation is I barely got out of high school. I was not a good student. I thought I was pretty smart, but I was not book smart. I mean, if I got a C, I was like ecstatic. Okay. And so I think I had a learning disability, but the teachers liked me. Like I was funny in class. I was, I wasn't a troublemaker or anything. They liked me, but they kind of felt sorry for me. So they can only go so far with the grades. I didn't do too good in that. So I think in the situation with me, I really, Ty, had nothing to fall back on. I mean, I was in. My both feet were in on this thing. I was playing music. I wanted to be a rock band. I wanted to have albums. This was before the acting thing. So I had nowhere to go. So I just had to make the best of what I could make. It wasn't like, I had a degree from college where I could get like a job. I mean, basically, I had jobs selling custom shirts at Bloomingdale's, which I knew nothing about at all. I was like an idiot. I was like 22 years old. And then, I'd work delivering in a food truck. So basically, I was looking at the outside. I said, man, if something doesn't happen, what? And then the years came by. And I said, oh, God, I've committed everything to this. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I asked Sly, I said, what if Rocky didn't happen? What would happen? He goes, I would have been probably just one of thousands of actors going from one part to the other. So I think that's kind of like when I think back, sometimes I've had nightmares and I go, what would happen if nothing happened? If a stroke of success didn't happen here or there. And it's kind of frightening. It's kind of frightening. I so I'm not opposed to people that maybe do have a really good education, that have something to fall back on. It doesn't mean you're out of the business. You have something to fall back on. Like, do repertory theater. You have your job, but at least you got your foot into something you really like. I would say most of the people I came up with in music, very few of them stuck with it. Their parents were on them. They got to go to college, and this is just a folly. I mean, John Oates from Hall and Oates was my lead guitar player, and he did have a college education, but obviously they went on to great things, Hall and Oates. But I think just I didn't really think about it too much, but I thought about it later. What if nothing happened? What if I've just put my whole life into this and nothing happened? Uh, so I think reading, I was a voracious reader because in a rock band you basically play at night. So I'd either during the day or go to the movies, take myself out of where I was at, or I'd read books. I'd read all these books on Hollywood. One of the greatest books you could ever read is by Kevin Brownlow. It's on Frank Capra. It's called The Parade's Gone By. Frank Capra goes down, maybe was one of the great directors of all time, had zero going for him. He was an immigrant from Italy, came here, had nothing, wanted to do all these incredible movies like It's a Wonderful Life, Meet John Doe, Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, Lady for a Day, all these positive movies. and nobody wanted to do his movies. And I think he ended up winning like 4 Academy Awards, like
Yeah.
but he goes, I'm a little 5'3" guy, I just have a dream. And he persevered, and went down as one of the great directors of all time. But that's a great book you should read called The Parade Has Gone by Kevin Brownlow.
Awesome.
It talks about Hollywood. I mean, it's really great. I mean, he talks about like Jimmy Stewart, who just came back from the war. His career was in the toilet. And It's a Wonderful Life actually bombed when it came out.
Yeah.
Become one of the most beloved movies of all time, but it actually was a bomb when it came out. So it's
Yeah.
that's what's so wonderful about the business is that anything can happen. I mean, it's a crapshoot. I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, the chances of my brother becoming a star, people you said, Frank, you got to make it music to help your brother out because he's not going anywhere. Seriously, my mother said that. Yeah, your brother's just like he's dreaming, because he would try to act around the house. I go, God, he's terrible. He goes, you got to become a rock star and help take care of your brother. He was writing scripts, and he just found the right thing, and it just happened. It's a divine intervention. But I think what kind of saved my brother and myself, we're all very voracious readers and very interested in a lot of things. We go to the museum, we do stuff just to kind of basically self-educate yourself. I mean, a lot of these great directors like Billy Wilder, a lot of them didn't have much education. They just started, George Stevens, they just started making movies, working on movie sets. And, John Ford, his father was brother was Francis Ford, who was a big silent screen star. He worked for his brother. Later on, John Ford becomes one of the greatest directors, and his brother was like an extra. Go figure.
Yeah.
I mean, if so, the tides can all turn, and that's why I think it's so great when you read a lot of books on Hollywood history, how things can go from great to bad, and then all of a sudden, bingo. Look at John Travolta's career. He was huge. Urban Cowboy, Grease, Saturday Night Fever. Then his career went into the toilet. I remember, I'll never forget. This is really funny. I was sitting there with my brother, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Terry Semel, who was the head of Warner's. He goes, and Ron Meyer, who was his agent, who was head of CA. He goes, I go, so what's going on with John? We were just sitting there. He goes, Frank, I can't give him away. I can't give him away for these small movies. I can't give him away as an actor. Quentin Tarantino just had this thing about John Travolta, put him in Pulp Fiction, and overnight he became a huge star again. Weird, huh?
Yeah, wow. Okay. All right, guys, the hands that are up, we're going to wrap it up here because this is so precious the amount of time that Mr. Stallone is giving us here.
Oh,
So,
I'm enjoying it.
oh, good. I'm glad we're enjoying you. You're one
Which
of the
people would
best
have
stories.
talked to me when I was coming up.
Yeah, well, you're one of the best storytellers and just appreciate it. But I know you've got a cold too, and I want to respect that.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Greta?
Okay, so Ty kind of took part of my question with the how you stay grounded when you were facing a lot of rejection and no's in the industry. But my question following along with that is how did you with maintaining thick skin, do you not become jaded and completely bitter? I know in your documentary you talked about like, well, I did become bitter and it helped me have that thick skin and such. But in your music, when you're touching people's hearts, obviously, and you have such a tenacious energy and spirit, and it's so admirable. I love it.
Thanks.
But how did you keep that, soft, tender heart while still having that thick skin?
Well, I think a lot of it was the company you keep, having really good friends around you, and not things like that. I think having good people around you, if you have a good family, I didn't have a good family life, but a lot of people I know have wonderful parents and they're very supportive. I think keeping grounded with that or whatever faith or something like that, and I think people got caught in the fast lane. Oh, this happened, that, and then they got caught up in drugs, they got caught up in alcohol, bad relationships, and it all kind of falls down on you. And I think with myself, I could take myself somewhere else. I mean, music, I could just sit there and listen to like George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue or an
Mm,
American Paris. It would just take me somewhere else.
yeah.
So I think reading, sitting there going out on my balcony and just reading, it takes you somewhere else. Or like reading about people's lives and the incredible things they do. And not it's a job. It's acting. It's not, you're going to go on. Hopefully you'll meet someone wonderful and have a wonderful family. That's the really most important. This is a job. This is play acting. You know what I mean? And I think if you can take it with a grain of salt, realizing not everyone's going to get every part, even though you feel you're the perfect for the part, and you might be perfect for the part. There's a lot of moving parts in this business, you know. But I think the most important thing is to just kind of do the best you can and hang around like-minded people. You know,
Mm,
stay away from like there's a lot of hucksters out there. So stay around good people, good friends that support you.
yeah.
And I think that's what I mean, I still have, I mean, a lot of my friends have died, unfortunately. But I lost my agent, he died, my best friend died. I'll bet, and I go, and I just felt really alone because you have those friends as you find when you get older. Like when I drive to Vegas, we were on the phone the whole time, talking, stuff,
That's awesome.
the band, crazy girlfriends, stuff. Yeah. And I had about five of those guys like that I could just sit there and we just talk all the time. And it was like kind of comforting, friends you had for 50 years, and then, just unfortunately with life, they go, and then you try to find a new set of people that are kind of like that are like-minded. I think when you're around like-minded people, I think it's really great. I think, acting is a wonderful profession and music is a wonderful profession. Yes, there are a lot of bumps and roads and unfairness and everything that goes with it, and insecurities, but everyone has them. I mean,
Mm,
some of the greatest actors in the world, they get a script and petrified. Meryl Streep has said, I don't know what to do with this.
Right. Yep.
She got Sophie's Choice. She goes, I have no idea how to break this down to do this.
mm,
He did it, but the thing is, but that's kind of the fun journey, creating your own kind of like you create your own image of what you see in the character. I think that's what's the fun part. It should be fun. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't, every actor that gets every script goes, oh, Jesus God. I mean, I've gotten a script. They said, okay, Frank, you want to do this? And I said, and I'm not a big one for like these major paragraphs of dialogue. I'm there, oh, Christ almighty. So I'm redlining this, I'm trying to just make it concise. I said, this is so long-winded and I can really get to the crux of the matter a lot quicker. And you can find directors, but if it makes sense, you can do it. In other words, if you said, well, I'm cutting out the lines because I can't remember them, which is probably a part too. I mean, you get sometimes these pages of dialogue, which to me is amazing that actors just bump, bump, bump. That's not me. I mean, so I try to kind of chop it up a little bit where it's actually saying the same thing but a little more concise.
mm.
And those are fun things too. It's like you're kind of creating like your own person, like a Mr. Potato Head. You're putting like yours on. You're kind of constructing your own person, your own character. I mean, think about it. Jim Carrey gets the part of the Grinch. How do you prepare for that? There's no such thing as a Grinch. How do you, or when he did the other one where he played the guy all in yellow with the big teeth, what was that called?
Oh, yeah.
What was that? He was huge in that. Smoking. How do you
Oh,
create that character? You know what I mean? It's like you're reading this, you go, what the hell is this? how do I become a Grinch? Such thing as a Grinch. But that's where his genius comes in, like Pet Detective. He just created this crazy person. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it, and it can be a lot of fun, and it's really fun sharing it with people that are either in your class or people you want to do scene reading with. You know, but there's nothing wrong of looking foolish or insecure or goofy in acting class. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone does. I've done scenes where it's so bad. And my acting teacher goes, Frank, I'm really disappointed in you. That's the worst reading I've ever seen. And you know, of course, everyone starts laughing, and then they get up and they suck, you know. But what do? You just pick yourself up. You have to have a sense of humor. If you don't have a sense of humor about it, I know some actors. I said, dude, you're torturing yourself. You're putting so much pressure on yourself. You're killing yourself. You got ulcers already. It's an acting part. I mean, you're sitting there like depressed. Yeah, gee. It's not the end. You're not going to die. It's not the end of the world. You just didn't get a part. You'll get another part. Like, you know, like for a few years, I wasn't working. I couldn't get arrested. Now I got this movie script here. I got this thing going on here. I did the thing with Angel Studios. And, you know, it's just part of the business. And I think when I say get a thick skin, you have to be not so thick skinned where you're just jaded and you're cruel and you're just mean, but just saying, okay, next, see what else comes up. You know,
Amen.
and I think, but again, I think it's who you surround yourself with has a lot different. If you have a great relationship with your brothers and your family, your mother, nurture that because that's a good support system when things, because they're on your side. I mean, you know, when things go bad. I mean, myself, I didn't have that. I mean, my brother and I were basically on our own. We didn't have any like support system. You know, my father was a hairdresser, you know what I mean? And not the friendliest guy. So I mean, we didn't have people going, oh, well. I mean, I used to get really jealous because I was the leader of the band, I was the lead singer, and these guys that were my group, they were just a bunch of schleppers, right? Their parents would come to the gig and they're so proud. Oh, Joe, you were so great on stage, and I'm like the lead guy, you got no one coming out. So I used to get really jealous because you know these were like the parents that were involved in everything their kids did, whether it be sports, music, or oh, honey, you're great. We're so proud of you and stuff like that. You know, like like my father was kind of a crude. He's from the old country. My brother goes, Dad, I just got nominated for Academy Award. He goes, yeah, how much they paying you? I said, didn't even get it. Just like went over your head. Now, most parents would go crazy. I mean, I did all these talk shows like Mike Douglas, Dinah Shore, Merv Griffin, Midnight. Never got like calls from my parents. Oh, honey, we saw you on TV. So basically, if you have that, you have to kind of
Embrace it.
embrace it and create your own. And that's why I say good good friends are really important to have as a good support system as well as a family.
So
And
good.
yeah, I mean that's the thing because it can be lonely and it can be depressing, but you know, it's almost like going with the wind. Tomorrow's another day,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It is.
Thank you. Good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
And,
you. We have one more. Hillary?
sure, Hillary.
There we go. Turning on my video.
There you are.
Hi. Um, so I have a question pertaining to musician becomes actor. So I am a musician and I'm like, this is my entry first few weeks getting into
Yeah.
taking some acting classes.
Yeah.
So what would you say were going from like music to acting, what were your greatest assets that you brought to the table as a musician? And then what were the things that you found that you had to work on?
Oh, okay. My situation was a little different because I had done Staying Alive, which basically I'm singing, writing all most of the music in the movie. And from that, I was young enough, you know, and they figure, well, let's capitalize on this guy. So then all of a sudden, I started getting some movie parts, and I kind of on the work job learning, I mean, and then one thing led to another. And of course, the business is going to capitalize if something good has happened with you. They're going to figure, oh, well, he just did this big movie. He'd be great to put in this movie. He's hot with this record and stuff. So one thing led to another, but I did a lot of bad movies too. Trust me. I mean, I get these film phobe guys, they go, man, Terror in Beverly Hills is so hip. I said, it's the worst movie I ever did in my life. But these audiophiles think it's so bad that it's actually good, if that's possible. It's like Ed Wood. No one could no one could consciously make a movie that bad. So it's almost so bad that it's brilliant, because it's like when you look at Ed Wood movies like Plan 9 Out of Space or Glenn or Glenda, they're so bad that it's hard to conceive that there's genius in the poorness of the film. And what happens? It ends up being a hit movie. And my friend Martin Landau wins the Academy Award for Ed Wood. So I think the transition is, obviously, you've been in front of people, you've played music, so that's a plus. Okay. So it's like you are in show business, but you're in the music aspect of it. And I think what it is, I think now the study, you almost kind of put the same in, you play violin or cello.
You're muted, honey.
Okay. Violin, fiddle.
Okay. Yeah, violin is a very tough instrument to play.
And
So
fiddle.
yeah, and fiddle. Yeah, country fiddle, bluegrass fiddle. But the thing is, you just put that same intention that you put into your music is into your acting. Because to play violin or fiddle or any cello or viola, you got to be very disciplined. It's not something you just sit there and just start riffing on. You don't become like Itzhak Perlman overnight. You know what I mean? Or Isaac Stern. It's a lot of work. So it's basically kind of the same thing. You just transition into another field, but you put the same intention you
The
do.
same.
Yeah, I'm sure
And
you've
like the
picked up.
discipline it takes to be a professional musician.
That's right. The
A lot of
discipline.
the same discipline.
I mean, I'm sure the first time you picked up a violin, you're going, well, how am I going to do this? It sounds like a dead cat, until you get the finite portions of it together. It's like guitar. Like I just walk through the house, I pick up the guitar, I might play for 10 minutes, and later on, just do some scales or stuff like that. But so basically bringing the same kind of discipline that you put into music, put it into acting, and it's listening, learning, and putting all the pieces together. And it does, and I think Tina will tell you, it does come to a point when all of a sudden you go, man, I'm just having a hard time with this. I mean, I'm a little shy, I'm not comfortable acting, and then all of a sudden it just comes together. It just kind of, without you knowing it, it's like you working on a piece on the violin. All of a sudden, said, "Man, I can't get this part." And all of a sudden, one day, it just comes together. Same thing with acting. Just all of a sudden, listen. Most people. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to get in front of a lot of people and act. Okay, I want you to play this silly part. Like, I think a lot of things are good. I think Tina would agree with me. A lot of these comedy workshops are very good for acting, because you can go up there and be silly and you know what I mean? And you can bomb and you can do good. But a lot of like Groundlings, Second City, those are great training grounds for acting, because, again, if you see the mask of comedy and tragedy, they're very much linked. Like Robin Williams. I mean, look at him. He was a Shakespearean actor, but he could play a total buffoon, or he could do Last Post Society and play this great deep thing. So there's a lot of aspects to it. So I think the workshops, I think working with people, scene study, repertory, uh, you know, cold reading class, very important. I don't know if Tina teaches that, but she probably does. But cold reading, very important aspect to have, because your mission is to get the job and then learn the part. Okay? The idea is to get the part. You could be the greatest actor in the world, but you're just not a good cold reader, and you're not going to get the part. So that's kind of where it is. It's all kind of finds its way in the universe.
Well, all right. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, you're one of the best storytellers ever. We could sit here and listen all night. Fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just love you so much. I mean, I feel like I've just grew up with you, Frank.
Thank you, Tina. I appreciate it. And I think, jump in with both feet, gang, and see what happens. You might surprise yourself.
Well, we have a lot of very seasoned actors too, so they're getting to have those to mentor to them as well.
That's good.
Yeah, just sticking with it. If you know you're called to it, you have to do it. And
Yeah.
I think Mr. Frank Stallone here just gave a lot of great advice on some things that you can do practical as well in your lives. One of the things I wanted to share before we go is from your documentary that meant the world to me, because it was so funny. I had just found it. It wasn't like I planned to go there, and I was like, and then I texted him, Frank, I found your documentary. It's a great, to me, it was one of the best ones I've seen because it's so transparent and so real and honest. But the thing that stood out to me the most is the way that people spoke about you. I think that is so important. It's a legacy when people can speak about you, even when you break up in a band. And one of the gentlemen in your band, I think it was, said, you want a friend like Frank.
Yeah, Alan.
Friend
It's
like,
funny. I wasn't there for any of those interviews. I said,
I believe that.